Weeks of deadly floods triggered by record-smashing rainfall have left part of southern Brazil in disaster. Our TeleSUR correspondent Brian Muir has the details.
3 weeks after Porto Alegre was hit with its biggest flood in history, not only are dozens of city blocks still submerged, but the water level started rising again on Thursday. During the 1960s, the local government built a huge flood prevention system. But on the day when the flooding began, the public found out that half the pumping stations were inoperable and that some of the gates designed to seal the dike system were missing parts and couldn't properly close.
Porto Alegre has seen its public services severely degraded over the past 20 years, destroyed by a governing coalition that believes that the state should be minimal and subordinate to the market.
In 1973, the Porto Alegre mayor's office created an agency called the Ministry of Rainwater Drainage. Like the rest of the integrated flood prevention system, it was well funded throughout the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. After a right-wing coalition took control of the city government in 2005, it began systematically defunding the flood prevention system, eliminating the Ministry of Rainwater Drainage completely in 2017. We've known for a long time that if this system were properly maintained, it could have easily protected us from this flood because it could withstand a 6-meter rise in the river, and the highest level it reached this month was 5.33 meters. This flood would not have happened if everything was working. Once the flood prevention budget was gutted, current Mayor Sebastian Mello began a push for a London-inspired port gentrification project. Ignoring a flood November that exposed mechanical failures in pumping station 17, Mayor Mello privatized a 3-kilometer section of the riverfront this February to real estate developers who promised to build fancy restaurants and rip down 1 kilometer of the flood wall.
There are much more modern systems than this wall. For example, you can install retractable plates that rise automatically during floods. So technology resolves this problem. In fact, I think that if we didn't still have this wall, the government would have already worked to solve the problem.
On Thursday, the Porto Alegre Residents Association's union filed an impeachment motion in City Council against Mayor Mello. Brian Muir, TeleSUR, Porto Alegre.